Hey, how
How's it
are you?
going? I'm good.
Good, good, good. Make sure my volume's up. How's the morning going so far?
It's all right. It's all right. How's yours?
Good. Been up for a few
It's
hours now, so I think I'm somewhat awake.
good. Good. It's been a minute.
Yes, yeah, I was actually going over our last interview, which I think it was in 2020. It was when EP came out, but it was during all that craziness. And
Oh yeah. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
By
it
the way,
seemed,
if you hear me cough, I'm getting over some bronchitis, so got a little bit of a cough.
oh gosh darn it. Um,
Yeah.
You go back on tour next month. You're not on tour now, right?
No.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. I'm
Oh
here in
my,
my apartment for the next 9 or 10 days. So thankfully I
oh,
got a little bit more time to get over it. But God, yeah, it was like poor timing, right?
oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it would have been, I guess, even more poor timing if you were on the road. So hopefully you'll be able
Oh
to fully
God, I know.
recover.
Jesus.
Yeah. So you're going back out with Wolfheart.
Yep, Wolfheart Before the Dawn.
That's awesome. And Before the Dawn is at Tumas as well, right?
Yes, that's one of his older bands. That's like he's been at it for I think they've it's like a 20-year anniversary or something like that.
Jeez, he's
A long time
just
ago.
that's so are you going on in between the two bands so that way he gets like a little bit of a break between the two projects?
No, we're opening the whole tour, so we're opening each night, and so he's doing back-to-back double duty. Yeah, he's on drums and Before the Dawn, and he is on guitar and vocals in Wolfheart. So it's just like, I mean, I was talking to him. He was saying that it's been kind of brutal.
Oh, he's a machine,
I
man.
can only imagine.
Oh gosh, same. Yeah, I think it's so cool that you've been out on the road with them. They're definitely complementative to what you guys are doing. Plus, he's
Oh,
just
absolutely,
nicest person ever. So nice. S-
totally.
so have you? So because I'm kind of going into a different part of this interview just because this is what we're talking about. But
No
with
worries.
going on or like touring with seasoned musicians, are there some things that because you guys are still fairly new, um,
Yeah.
is there something that you or are there things that you guys have learned along the way from the Wolfheart dudes and Before the Dawn guys?
Yeah, well, so last year we toured with Moonspell, Insomnium, Borknagar, and Wolfheart, and it was crazy because that was our first tour and also our first European tour, and it was really cool being thrust into that really professional setting. I mean, it wasn't like a small tour; it was a big package.
No,
The venues
Moonspell's
were
been around forever.
I know it was crazy, and those are like four of my favorite bands of all time. So it was
Oh,
just wow, what an opportunity that was. Just seeing how these guys operate, all the way from sound check to performing every night, and just the etiquette and all that stuff. I mean, we fit right in because we had been ready to do that sort of thing for quite a long time. So it was like no surprise for us, but just it was inspiring. I would say mostly just seeing these guys like do their thing every single night, like night after night after night, and really just give it a really amazing performance. It was great because I went home afterwards, and that's when I chose to save vocal recording for the new album until after I got back from that tour, and so I had like I don't know, I was really inspired, and I feel like I gave a better performance because of just like being on the road for those days, and just sort of sharpening that skill, and then seeing these other guys belt it out every night and do a really great job. It was inspiring.
yeah. Did you learn any tips or tricks on how to protect your vocals? I mean, I'm sure that's something that you already have been practicing and learning, but
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know if I learned anything new other than just like that. Like, I mean, that was one of my main concerns because I had never done like a tour like that length. And I mean, there was definitely some shows, and just like they're going to be this time where it's like, oof, get me through this set, like I'm hurting. But I just always it's always making sure that you drink water on stage. Like I've played shows where it's like I'm like, dang, I forgot water, and like you feel it, you feel it pretty much like I that's never a good situation. It's like, oh God, yes. So staying hydrated is always like the most important thing. And
yeah.
yeah, that's the big one is just staying hydrated on stage because um Yeah, like I said, those sets where you don't have something like a bottle or a cup of water behind you, those can be painful.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I bet. So on those days, or even just on the days where you just had back to back to back and your vocals are hurting, is there anything that you do for like aftercare?
I mean, pretty much just make sure that like I take it easy and I don't yell or talk really loud backstage. That's one of the things that people say like is really I believe even Tomas said that was one of the things to keep your vocals fresh is, and maybe I'm wrong. I think it was might have been Tomas, but yeah, just like basically not yelling over like the other bands, trying to go in the audience and yelling into people's ears and stuff like that, like trying to, so just taking it easy with the voice the rest of the evening and really just keeping the volume low is usually what I would find myself doing.
Yeah, makes sense, which is hard at a, at a concert
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
hard when you're
loud.
excited and you have a couple beers and you're on tour.
For sure, for sure. So Tomas is also on this album. Was that something that you had planned before you went back and did the vocals, or while you were on tour, where you're like, "Hey, do you want to guest on this one?"
So funny story, actually, we wanted to have Tomas on our previous release, the EP, Death of the Cosmic. And the scheduling just didn't work out for that one. He had been on tour in South America at the time. That was like 2019 when we were recording that one. And he was like really sick after he'd gotten back, and it wasn't working schedule wise, and just didn't happen in time. Um, so we knew we wanted to have him on this one. We just didn't know exactly what we were going to do about it. Uh, we had gotten back from the tour. I was recording vocals. He had come through Austin on the Flesh God Apocalypse tour, and at that point, we had asked him about the guest vocals and seeing, really if he wanted to do it. And he wanted to do it. So we were like, yes, success, this time around. And we had that track. We knew we wanted to have him on that track because that was like a kind of, we feel that that track is like the true closer to the album. And even though we have a re-recorded song at the very end, we feel like that one really is like the one that caps off the new material. And and it's kind of like the ballad there at the end. And it's sort of reminiscent to me of some of his older stuff, like because it's slow, like with his vocals. So hearing it is sort of nostalgic to me. It's just cool. And so we're really happy with that.
Oh, it turned out amazing. So he was in Texas and recorded like physically, because that doesn't seem to be a huge thing anymore for guest vocals. Usually they're recording and sending in their recordings, but he actually was in Texas with you guys.
No, he recorded remotely. We just
Oh,
had
okay.
the discussion in Texas. Yeah.
Gotcha.
No,
Gotcha.
thankfully, yeah. We thought about it though. We thought about, hey, we could bring a recording. We could bring like a audio interface and a mic. We could just have them record in the back of the van or something like that.
Right.
We were prepared to do it if it had to come to that. But no, that discussion did take place. But thankfully, he was like, "Oh, I've got some studio days, and so I'll use one to go over those vocals."
Awesome. Awesome. Well, the other guest vocalist you have is Jake from Aether Realm, which
Yes.
is another incredible vocalist. The song turned out great with him too. I mean, obviously tell the difference between all three of your guys' vocals. You have all very different styles. But how did that one come about?
Well, so that one, we've been friends with Jake for a long time, like ever since they came through and opened with, or we opened for them when they were touring here with Wilder Run, and also really great dudes.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, such a great
yeah,
band.
all those guys are really great. I love those two bands, Ether Realm and Wilder Run. We keep trying to set up some kind of tour with those guys. That would be a really cool tour package.
Yes, it would.
But yeah, so we had really just I knew that I wanted somebody on that song because it was kind of a little bit different. I feel like it's a little brighter and a little bit more. There's like more major chords here and there in that song. It's just got a different feel to some of the other songs on the album. And we just thought, yeah, that would be a great track for guest vocals. So we're trying to think of a guest vocalist who had a higher pitch like range. And I remember we were in the van coming back from a gig or something, and we were discussing, we were going over who could be on there. I was just like, oh wait, what are we thinking here? We got Jake from Ether Realm. We know this guy. Like this is
Yeah.
perfect. Like we're friends with him. So it's like just let's do it. And I reached out to him, and he was down and did a killer job on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was pretty awesome. And yeah, the rest is history.
Right. Yeah. No, both. I mean, the whole album's awesome. Um, it's definitely an extension of Death of the Cosmic. in my opinion.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
same style, you know. You
Hmm.
do a lot of like existential style lyrics. I don't think I asked you this last time, but what is your inspiration outside of like obvious just life in general? Do you have any other places that you like pull inspiration from for your lyrical style?
So with lyrics, I really always try to make sure that lyrics are relatable in some aspect. And I really like, just pulling from, what is the human experience? What is some common thread that we all experience? And when I'm writing lyrics, I try to make things not so on the nose and not so like overly, face value, I try to be kind of metaphoric and I really like the poetic aspect of lyrics. Um,
Definitely
Lyrics
tell.
always they tell a story, but at the same time, like I really like keeping it a little, having it be. I like the cryptic, mysterious aspect of it as well. So there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff like from my own personal life for this album, for instance. The lyrics on this album are different, and I pull from a different place than Death of the Cosmic. Death of the Cosmic was more like worldly and more based on bigger concepts, whereas this one is more down to earth. I wanted it to be more relatable. I wanted the lyrics for Shatter and Fall to be something that people could understand and apply maybe to themselves when listening, and have stick in their head. And really, that some of that had to come from within too, because I wanted, it was more personal to me, basically. So that this new album was, the lyrics were more personal for me.
It makes sense. Yeah, it seems like it's a lot of like inner struggles between light and dark. You know, you use shadow imagery, um, light imagery, obviously. So yeah, it seems like a very existential inner battle that I mean, obviously, like you said, we all experience.
Yeah.
Very, very poetically written. That's I mean, lyrics already are anyways, but yeah, I that's something I very much noticed with this one. I was like, it reads like really good poetry. And I
Thank you.
kept going through and circling different areas that I really liked. And my pen was running out of ink. I finally was like, I can't talk about all of these. There's too many areas that I really like how you verbalized it and worded it. But
That's
it's
awesome.
yeah, very beautifully done.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Um, it's really interesting too because last time we had talked, you were talking about how important it is to be positive and to like have a good attitude. And it's
Yeah.
so funny because it's I mean it's like the light and dark of okay, here's
Yeah.
the inner turmoil that I and especially a lot of people recently, you know, the last few years have been experiencing. But then you talk to you and you're just like bright and happy and everything. And it's I mean, it's such a metal thing, right? It's such a
Yeah. Yeah.
people that don't know
That's the
metal
running
are
joke,
like,
isn't it?
right, right. How do you keep that balance within yourself and not get lost in that, you know, side?
Well, I think that, like, I don't know, we all have our demons, we all have our like you said, there's always light and dark, and there is contrast. Um for instance, in the song that we have, Spirit and Matter on the album, that song is sort of about the opposing forces in the universe, light and dark, in the chorus, there's light without shadow. It's a story incomplete, and light needs shadow, dark needs light. You know, um, I would say, making this kind of music is an outlet for me, and this is what I'm passionate about, and this is what motivates me to get up and do what I do every day. And that's one of the reasons to stay positive, and that's one of the things. I don't know who I would be without this kind of music, and without this in my life, and without this driving force. So maybe I wouldn't be so positive and wouldn't be if I
Yeah,
didn't have this sort of thing in my life, if this wasn't something that I had pursued. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's sort of tough. Like, this is my emotional outlet, this art form, and so this is where I put all the negative stuff. Maybe this is where maybe this is where all that stuff goes.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's not uncommon, right? That's I think
Yeah,
how a lot of musicians end up utilizing their music for cathartic reasons, for working through stuff, for
yeah,
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 the other side of the personality coin that we all, have, and it's a wonderful outlet to be able to have for so many reasons, not only for you who gets to have those effects, but also for people who listen to it and get to have that release in the same in the not the same sense, but kind of the same sense,
yeah, 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 absolutely, yeah.
So with that, a question I ask everybody, and I must have I started asking this after we had talked because I didn't ask you this last time. What are some things that you do for mental health, like for your self-care?
Hmm, that's a good question. Hmm. Uh, that's tough.
It's usually the answer that I get is the oh shoot, you know.
Yeah, at one point, I think at one point, my guitarist Eric, he asked me, "What do I do for self care or whatever?" And this was years ago, and I was like having a hard time even answering him. I mean, honestly, for me, like I sometimes I do have to just unplug and relax and just not do anything. Like sometimes it all just becomes too much, and I have to just sit back. And I know it sounds stupid, but just honestly, just take my mind off of everything and just have a beer and just like chill and like I don't know, enjoy something like I don't know, watch some documentary on my computer or just as I'm drinking some beer. Something
Yeah,
like
no,
that. I mean, I
that
don't know
is
if that counts as self care, but like,
absolutely,
but
absolutely, yeah.
usually there's more of a. I wish I could say I do yoga or something like that, but I don't,
Well, I think there's probably some stigmas related to what self care can mean because a lot of people
I
will
mean,
be
if
like,
Yeah, and if I'm honest, I guess that also I guess it's just because I haven't done it in a while, but like I really love to travel. Like if you could say that's self-care, then that's probably something that's probably higher on the list of like something that really helps me mentally. But I just haven't had a chance to do that. Since the last tour, I really haven't had a chance. I've been so busy this year, so maybe that's why I didn't go there immediately. But I want to. Like even this year, I wanted to take a trip, out to like Arizona, do some hiking and stuff like that. Just couldn't make it happen. And yeah, every year I try to like go like to the mountains or something like that, but I'll have to save some of that for next month. Maybe I'll have to find a day where we have a day off and do some hiking out there in Europe with the guys.
yeah, I especially Germany. I think it's supposed to be. I mean, I've never been there, but it looks like it's supposed to be really beautiful, and so it might be a good place for it. Nature,
Oh,
my
it's
goodness.
gorgeous. Yeah, it's gorgeous out there. The whole touring thing is kind of a tease though, because you're busy every single day, and
Mhm.
you'll be looking at the mountains and the hills and stuff, and especially in Germany, it's crazy. You'll just there's a castle, oh there's another castle, and just these crazy monuments and stuff, and like well we got to keep on the road, boys. We
Right,
can't we can't stop. You know,
right.
and it's like funny because like here in Texas, like at this time, God, this summer was brutal here in Texas. It's like
Mm.
I usually like to go hiking and stuff. Like just again, like that's a self care thing. Like I usually like to go hiking and just in my free time and stuff. But this summer was so hot. I mean, it was miserable. It was
Mm.
like oppressively hot. You couldn't go hiking. It was just like, nope, you're just gonna be miserable. Just go home.
Really?
So
I
thankfully
yeah,
now it's starting to cool down a little bit. but
yeah.
yeah.
I didn't realize you guys had that brutal of a summer. Usually, our weather pattern. I mean, obviously, we have more diverse weather here, but usually it seems like if other areas surrounding us have really hot winter or summer, really hot winters, really hot summers.
We
We
have
do
those in
this.
Texas.
Yeah,
It's
no,
happened. We've had like
we do
90-degree
not.
Christmases, trust me. It's happened like
That's crazy. Yeah, our summer was actually pretty tame, so I'm surprised how different. I mean, I
Yeah, this
guess
summer was like in the 100s and like I mean, we filmed the music videos this summer and like one of the music videos we filmed in a warehouse with no air conditioning and
oh
we had
my
to do it in the very
gosh.
early morning. That day it was projected to be over 100 degrees, I believe. And it got really I mean, I must have sweated through like 6 or 7 shirts or something like that, like just doing it was like, all
Mm.
right, you did a take. All right, everybody go in the green room, change, and just soaking wet. Everyone's just like, oh my God. So that was the Triptych Visions music video. We were
Oh
all sweating like
man.
crazy. Our video
Oh,
guy Chris had to work extra hard to make us look good in that one. Really take all
It's
the
like
red out of our
copy
faces.
pasting or parts of yourselves. How long did you
Yeah.
guys record that, or how long did it take you that day to record it?
That we booked that location for like 4 hours. So we started like I think we started like 8 a.m. that day, and then we went to like noon. And by noon, we were all just like, "Oh my god, holy!"
We're done.
Yeah, like totally over it. Yeah,
Oh
well,
my
we were
gosh.
happy to get that one out of the way. Thankfully, the next two video shoots, like we did the other half of Triptych Visions with our actress in a air conditioned place, and then Reverse the Code was, thank God, it was like in an office building. It was like a big office floor, a whole floor of an office building, and it was air conditioned, and we are just happy to be in the AC because it was hot. Yeah,
Uh,
it's crazy.
Now, just because I know how Napalm works, I know that you're going to have another one probably right before the album releases on November 10th. Have you already recorded that video too?
Yeah, so that is going to be yes, we have. And that's
I know.
not
I
a
was
full
like, you're
music
probably.
video. That
I,
one is I'll just say it's one of the guest vocal songs.
oh,
So
okay.
yeah. And there's reasons we can't do a full video for it. So you can use your imagination there.
Okay. Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
So I'm looking forward to it.
hell
Cool.
yeah, we are
Um,
too.
so super great reviews so far. People are really, really stoked with which direction you guys have gone, with what you guys are doing. I mean, it's not very often that I see little to none negative feedback when I go through and see what people are saying. So how is that? I mean, I'm sure you weren't super nervous, I'm assuming, going into this because it follows along the same lines of Death of the Cosmic, but um how has that been, like, seeing the, or do you pay attention? Maybe you don't pay attention.
Oh yeah, no, we definitely pay attention. We want to see. I mean, that's one of the most exciting things is seeing feedback for something that you've been working on for like we've been working on this for the last 3 years, and I've been taking it really seriously because at some point along the line, I've been told multiple times that like your second album is your most important. I don't know how true that is, but uh, I've been told that before, and then at the same time, I've also I mean, our first full length album on Napalm Records. I mean, we have to take it seriously, and like so, it
Yeah.
was really important we got it right, and so I didn't. I mean, there was nothing that I half-assed on this album. I mean, we gave it our all. We did our best for what we had, and the resources we were working with and the budget that we had. So, of course, bigger budget always is going to lead to, better quality and everything like that because, you just do more with it. But for everything and the time and everything, like we really put our all into this album. And yeah, like we were pretty confident in it. And, honestly, I've been working on those songs so long, like we took an extra year longer than we would than a band would probably typically take. Like you probably want to have an album out every 2 years. And this one was a few years. Well, we don't really want to do that again moving forward, but we had to figure out some stuff, and really there was some songwriting shit that like I really, I was really trying to sharpen that skill and really trying to, do that. And so I feel like I've improved my skills with songwriting and stuff as well. But yeah, we really wanted to make sure that this album was as good as it could be, and doing so, I mean, at a certain point, I kind of just became numb to these songs. Like, I was like, I don't even know if this is good anymore. Like, I've just heard this 1,000 times, in the studio, at home, in my car, just trying to. I'm just like, and that, the other guys weren't listening to it quite as much, but we would, I was specifically just like, I'm sick of these songs now. Like at a certain point, it's like, oh my god, no
Move
one's even heard
forward.
this stuff. I'm already tired of them. So it was just really cool to be able to show other people, and it reinvigorates that excitement because like you're like, oh hey, like it's not just something I've been listening to 1,000. No, this is something that other people haven't heard at all. So
Yeah.
that's all that like is reinvigorating. And then also even just as far as like just getting the videos done, like having that visual element to the songs, like that also is sort of something that like builds that excitement again. But yeah, seeing the positive feedback and stuff is always super. That's what also gives me drive too. It's like, no, okay, no, we're like on the mark here. We're right over the target, and so that's always like, that's always fun and always a great thing to see.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. Last time we talked, you said you had bought a native flute. I did not hear it in here. Is that something that
No,
you're still
yeah,
thinking
we
about putting moving forward?
still trying to find out where to put that. Yeah, that's I still think about that. Yeah, I still do. It's sitting right over here. We tried to do, actually. There was a second. I was telling someone else there was a second interlude that we were going to have on the album, but we just didn't have enough time to do it. And that was one thing I was going to try. The trick with the native flute is that I think that it's a different key than, like, it's only in one key, and so no matter what you're playing. So it'd be a matter of like making sure that it fit with whatever key was in there, and it wasn't. It's not in the same key as any of the stuff I was working with, so I would have had to like shift it its pitch and stuff like that. And so it was just a whole process. But I intend to do something with it. I definitely do. I definitely want to do something with that at some point.
In my ear out for it, and I was like, I'm not here.
Yeah, I know. I knew we had a discussion too.
Excellent.
Well, we talked about last time, because like we had Nature Gang and Beigel on Cold Conception, and I really want to do some other kind of exotic instrument. And unfortunately, this time it was just the focus didn't go as much on that as much as it did like the songwriting and making sure the songs were solid and stuff. And
Of
honestly,
course.
yeah, we did have Kevin Butler, his wife, plays violin, string instruments, and we had just done a couple subtle parts on the album. We had her do that, like in Spirit and Matter. In the end, if you listen, you can hear there's like a melody that's being played with the viola and violin, and there's a little bit here and there on a couple of songs. The Answer, it's on there as well, just in the bridge. There's a big heavy riff where there's a little bit of the violin in there, but it's very subtle this time around, and we didn't go full. But next, again, I would love to do that sort of thing again for sure. The exotic instrument thing, I think it's cool.
And now I'm spacing it. The first track.
Slowly Light Collides.
I love that. I love that song. You have a slower part in there. Is there some there? Some
There's
violin?
nothing in there as far as
Okay.
the strings, but yeah, that one is a song that does have a lot of layers, though. We do the ebo, which is this little guy right here, the little ebo thing. We do that, and that's like that kind of like droney guitar sound. They use a lot of post rock and stuff like that, like genres like that.
Yeah, it's a cool song.
Thank you.
The whole album's really, really neat. I was so excited
Okay.
as soon as I got the promo, and Natalie had, I don't even think she hit me up for it. I was just like, yep, let's set it up. I love me some Hinayana.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. Do you have another interview coming right up?
I do after this, yes.
Okay. Okay. Last question. What are some things that you do in your spare time?
Mm.
Do you like to
That's
read? Do you
tough.
play games? You're like, I don't have spare time. It's all music.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like that. Yeah, no, I mean, I do enjoy, like I said, I do enjoy sitting down with a beer and
What's your
watching.
favorite beer? About that.
I In Texas, I like the real ale beers. All the stuff by Real Ale Brewing. I think my favorite two right now are the Devil's Backbone by Real Ale, and then the Arrogant Bastard Ale by Stone Brewing. That's another really good one.
Yeah, I've had
Yeah,
that
sitting
one.
down with a beer and watching some UFO documentaries or something like that is I'm a huge nerd. I have right next to me. My bassist always thinks it's really cool. I've got like a whole collection of models of flying saucers and UFOs that I build. So I do that sometimes
Oh
in my
my
free time.
gosh,
Yeah.
how fun. If you think about it, send me a picture because I'm curious of what that looks like. It's
Okay.
okay if you
Yeah.
don't think about it,
I'll
but if
show
you
you.
do, I would love to see it. Yeah.
I'll
And then
send you a picture after it's done today.
tell me some of your favorite, you don't have to on here, but some of your favorite UFO documentaries because my husband
Oh,
would
there's the
be
one that's from like the early double O's. That's like a classic made by James Fox, Out of the Blue. That's a really, really good one.
okay.
That's like an early one. And then there's one that was made, actually, another one by him called The Phenomenon that was recently. That one's also on Amazon. That one's really, really good too, as well. Those are also both by a guy named James Fox. A really good. I'm a huge nerd with that stuff. So, I mean, I'm building models of
No,
them. So you can
no,
imagine.
that's fun. We're nerds in totally different ways, but I
Yeah.
love that. I
Yeah.
think dude, it's so funny. People that don't understand metal or musicians, or they have no idea how nerdy the majority of them are.
Oh yeah, and that's another one of those things that you mentioned, self care. I like when I have the free time. I almost never do. When I have the free time, I really like doing something with my hands, and I think the model making stuff. I used to make models as a kid with my dad. Like we used to do World War II planes though, but now I find the UFO like stuff really fascinating, and I'm like such a niche thing. It's so weird and niche. Like you can't even find UFO model kits on eBay. It's so like bizarre. Sometimes you gotta just get them 3D printed and stuff. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Oh, how fun. Well, thank you so much, Casey, for taking this time with me. I'll let you go since you got other people coming up. I hope the rest
Oh,
of your
thank you
interviews
for
go
having me.
well.
It was
Yeah,
my pleasure. My pleasure.
always enjoyed chatting with you.
Yeah, same here.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye.